Real quick video about the Forest Fire Fighting Service, the protectors of a large section of the economy for places like Neils Harbor and all the communities along the west coast of Guidance and of Union. And they are a national service, not just a regional one. Actually, the Forest Service, national, yes, that's about right. A little bit of regional money obviously thrown in there to support it as well. Well, we're going to get right started here, people. Straight sets. This is, right on. This is set 4427. And I've added every piece of equipment I can think of. Shovel, chainsaw, picks, fire extinguisher, you name it, a radio, air tanks, fire suit, that's what the yellow is for. These guys, all four of them, their job would be to race through, find little spots, put them out so that a new part of the fire wouldn't suddenly flare up, or they could all go in together and drag out a nice burn line so that when the fire reached burnt shrubbery, the fire would stop. They're essentially all singing, all dancing mobile units, getting firefighters on the ground somewhere quickly with the proper equipment to sort of dig in. Now, obviously, large aircraft would be flying in volunteers as well, but sometimes you need one or two men, sometimes you need four, sometimes you just need to check out an area with one individual, or maybe if it's so small, you just send a couple of these gentlemen. But I really like the idea of being sort of a fast mobile response to dispatch men to little problem spots. So I used set 4427 for that. And I do believe that in the videos I never used more than 2 bikes. I thought 4 was overkill, but I just loved that set. And so I bought it a lot. And I'm afraid that is the story of the whole forest fire sets. Climbing here, and this is set 4430. A big water tank, all terrain, literally almost a tank to go out and fight the forest fire. That's just neat. A little command car, you get the chief in there and radios and equipment, sort of to coordinate and dispatch all his, different units and coordinate the fire from a central location. A big command vehicle, and of course the one on the back said, I gotta have that set. Even if I never use it, I just gotta have that set. Just a great looking set. And I had to have different fire trucks, I had different uniforms, I had different equipment, I had a different service even. 4208, again, forest fire fighting truck. Equipment, of course, in the back, like all types of fire trucks that I used, different things were sort of put into that unit. And of course the doors move, and as you can see, there's a little unit in there. This is a single man firefighting truck. He just gets in, and he fires up the hose here, and away he goes. And again, I'll prove to you there is actually equipment in here. I put stuff in there like masks and tanks and a little bit of equipment that he might need on a fire. And of course, I never knew what the scenarios were going to be. So in case I made a big forest fire scenario video with rangers and police and fire and municipal engines, I had a big fantasy video all planned out, but never had the room, the time, or of course the trees I would have needed to shoot such an elaborate video. But you pre-buy, you cross your fingers, and they ended up being in videos anyway, and they added some flavor to the town, the region, and the economy, and that sort of thing. And this unit, scale-wise, I was never really happy with. But it is, in fact, as I recall, set 4209. But the trailer is just neat. I look like some kick-butt equipment. I always loved that idea, again, of equipment. It's like, what does that equipment do? Well, use your imagination. You guys can figure it out. Just like there being a bunch of apparatus and having to go dig into the internet and books and find out what does that stuff do. But the idea that sort of Jeep, large Jeep / Humvee, if you like, if that's what you want to pretend that it is, racing to the scene and bringing lots of equipment. Just fun for the parade that I created, where the firefighters, different types of firefighters were all saluted. Now, I would be remiss if I did not bring this one forward. This I don't believe got into any video. 4209, again a float plane, lots of float planes in the region. This is a water bomber. Its job is to scoop up water from a lake, bring it to a fire, and dispense it onto the lake. Sometimes they use fire retardants as well in planes like this. I have to give a shout out to a friend who knows a lot about aircraft, and it actually, I think it was just by talking to him that it sort of all came together. And I can't remember if he came up with it or I did, but there was some of the set we just didn't like. 4209 was not sitting right in our belly. And I'm going to just switch that around too. It's a really great set. What was it? It's ugly. Why? It's a beautiful aircraft, beautiful set. It's the engines. Quite frank, quite simple. These little fellows right here were in the wrong spot. They're sitting way over here. And it didn't make any sense. Just aeronautically, structurally, and we just like, wait, it's the engines. They're closer together to the fuselage. That's what it was. And we just simply moved it, and the set was perfect. That's a great set. And it was such a great set, I never got to use it. But I tried to use every set I could, folks, but I bought it. I loved it. Again, a lot of these sets got bought. I said, I hope these get in. Sometimes it didn't. And, but I just loved that whole series. And I love that it was slightly different looking than all my other fire units, and that there were so many of them, and they just, the yellow and the red and the different uniforms, and obviously an older series by 44 standards, that kind of thing. And that brings us to a middle of the ground set, not ancient like the 44s, but not the 6000 versions. This is set 7206. That is the modification I made to this set. Put an ambulance sticker onto it. I think I put the number on the fuselage on the back. There's 3 or 4 of these helicopters in guidance. The uniform for one of the SEALs is different. It's a different uniform. And again, I talked about them being ex-paramedics, ex-Coast Guard people, ex-military pilots. And I'll take the... now it doesn't want to seem to come off. There we go. As you can see, even the pilot is sort of uniformed differently. These are the elite rescue. And you can see there's a little stretcher in there. These are, like I said, ex-medics, ex-military, ex-Coast Guard, and so forth. So there's national and regional and municipal people. The best of the best get hired for this. It's very hard to get into the program, the SEAL program. But as you can see, this is a helicopter that helps lift people. It is a helicopter that is ready for emergency rescue. And you can see that by the winch and the basket that has fallen off and is floating to the side here. But more importantly, if I wanted to, I can attach this big bucket full of fire retardant and or water. And the helicopter could then do 3 jobs if need be. And there was enough of them to cover the needs of the whole region or province/state of guidance. And that was the SEAL program, and I think we did get to land that into one of the videos. I was always careful to try to squeeze in as many of my favorite straight Lego MOCs as possible. And you say, well, why didn't you make more MOCs? If the Lego set was great, I didn't. If it worked, and it was basically a set that I liked, now maybe I would have changed the tractor. I really liked the tractor, but it would have been on one of my videos for 35 seconds, and making a MOC takes several hours sometimes. So sometimes you had to edit time, and you had to just be satisfied enough, because there were bigger priorities like building the film studio, or where was that gonna go, and those sorts of things. But anyway, that was the Forest Fire Fighting Service, and all straight sets. And I gotta go make another video. See you later.